Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Gam Ganapate Namaha. Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Om Shrim Hrim Shrim Kamale Kamalale Prasida Prasida Om Shrim Hrim Shrim Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanye Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Swaha. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 20th of December 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great sages and to Paramatma, Bhagavad Tattva, Ishvara Tattva, residing at all places, at all times, in everyone's heart. With that prarthana, we are continuing to examine from multiple angles and perspectives the doorway, the opening of that dwar into two states that are intertwined together. That is Jivan Mukta Sthiti, living liberation, the goal, the ultimate goal of every human being. And in that sthiti, along with that sthiti, that state of living, is unbroken prem, unbroken love, unbroken, non-divisive, non-directional, without boundary, boundaryless prem. That is called Prem Lakshana Bhakti or Prema Bhakti in Narad Bhakti Sutra. In Satsangi Jivan it is called Prem Lakshana Bhakti, the 10th Bhakti. It is the Bhakti that is shown in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, where Gopikas are lost in Sri Krishna to the point where they start identifying with Krishna that they are Krishna themselves. This kind of statements are there in the Gopi Geet, Aham Krishna. Maybe in the future, by the will of Radhika Ji and Sri Krishna Paramatma, we can go through Gopika Geet sometime. It is in the RAS Panchadhayi. It is the heart of the entire Bhagavatam. It's very, very profound, advanced, and extremely beautiful. The rhyming and the song, that is the Geet itself, the way that it is sung, it is extraordinarily beautiful, right? So it has to be, how can we say, some readiness is there for that kind of bhakti. There is no ahankar in this bhakti. But to reach that stage, Mukta Sthiti and Prem Lakshana Bhakti, the entire Bhagavad Gita is the base. Of course, the Bhagavad Gita has that same teaching. The Gita is showing what is needed to reach that stage. Actually, it shows three things. It shows it is a description. It has verses that describe that sthiti, that akhanda prem sthiti, akhanda bhakti sthiti, akhanda mukta sthiti. This is one level. This is one level. The second that it describes is the bondage level, bandhan ka varnan, mukta sthiti ka varnan. In Gujarati we say bandhan nu varnan, mukta sthiti nu varnan. Vachanamrut does the same thing. And then the third is the transition from the bandhan to the mukta state, from the ahankara state to the bhakti state. That transition is also shown in the Gita. And in fact, all Upadesh scriptures that are showing how to reach liberation are all about this. whether it is Uddhav Gita, Ram Gita, Shiv Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Kag Bhushundi Gita. There's so many Gitas. There are over 18 Gitas. Narayan Gita. Bahut Gita hai. Gita simply means that it's a song. It's a samvad between an enlightened person and someone who is trying to become enlightened. That's its general meaning. So these three stages are there. The binding state, which we are talking about in that ladder, the Deha Bhav, Dehatma Buddhi, to move out of that into Atma Bhav or Atma Nishta, and then Atma Darshan, Atma Sakshatkar, Samyak Atma Darshan, all those higher states, Atma Satta. But to open that doorway, as we were saying yesterday, Antakaran ki jo bhavna hai, bahut mahatva ki baat hai. You were talking a little bit about yesterday about, financial transactions and all these things. Spirituality is not a financial transaction. Spirituality is based on bhav. And antakaran ka bhav. Yeah, practically there are things you have to do, obviously. I mean, I'm using Zoom right now. I have to pay for Zoom, for example, monthly Zoom fee. Those are all transactional, Vyavharika level interactions. But what is the bhav in the Vyavharika level? You go to work somewhere, right? I was talking to one of my participants in my EPE program. We have a couple of people in this individualized program. And I said to that lady, I said to her, when you go to work, I said this to her about 2 years ago, you try to go into there with total seva bhav. Yeah, you're getting good income, you're doing your work, but you're doing it for Paramatma. As a karma yogi, as a bhakti, as a seva for the sansar. She started to make that shift, and the progression began to happen tremendously in the organization. And for her own development, the resistance fell away. See, this is our problem. Our problem, meaning humanity's problem, in one word, is resistance. Internal resistance, external resistance, because our attitude is not seva. Seva is not only in religious organizations and temples and non-profits and all that. Seva is in every breath. And then practically whatever the kind of interaction is needed in the job or in the home or in the community, in the family, that practical interaction is going to vary. Obviously, it's not going to be the same kind of interaction. But the internal bhav, internal vritti, the intention shifts from ahankar into seva vritti. Ye kya hai? This is the technology of spirituality. It is actually very straightforward. It's very straightforward. The technology is a shift from ahankar vritti to grab me. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this. I want this back. Of course, Vyavharika level, you work somewhere, there's a payment, etc. No doubt, that has to be there. But nonetheless, when the action is performed completely from beginning to end with seva bhav, sevak bhav, with prema bhav, with the bhav sarva bhuta hite rataha, as the Gita teaches, we have won the game of life. Then the doorway, mokshadvaram apavrutam, that is going to open beautifully into that akhanda ananda. Kisko nahi chahiye? Everybody is in search of unbroken joy. That is called akhanda ananda. Akhanda means unbroken. We were using the example yesterday, of these exchanges and whatnot, puja and archan. Yeah, practically there are some charges, but, some interesting opinions are there about that. What is the intention? That is the everything in life. One may be having a multi-million-dollar job per year, or one might be having a very simple job. Intention kya hai? That is what counts. If the intention is seva and bhakti and benefit for all, That is Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. And with that intention, as chapter 16, verses 1 to 3, 1, 2, and 3 in chapter 16 of the Gita, list multiple divine qualities. Abhayam, I talked about that yesterday. Fear goes away. This is one of the serious problems, maybe the serious problem in human civilization. Bhay. Sabka bhay aata hai. I'll lose this job. This happens. What if this happens? What if? We are stuck in what if. इसमें ही जीवन पूरा हो जाता है. Bhay. To remove the bhay, each action, and each meaning, this is our goal, that moment to moment, minute to minute, hour to hour, start hour at a time. It is a matter of practice. Bhagwan Krishna कहते practice करो इस बात को, अभ्यास. Study these concepts and then put them in practice 1 hour at a time. That each action that is being performed pre-decidedly 1 hour at a time, it is done with total seva bhav and total prema bhav. Prema bhav means wishing well for all, especially those that are causing some disturbance, this and that. Sthir rehna isme. Total steadiness. The Bhagavad Gita is so many words to explain this. This is one of the main points of the Gita. Antakaran ekdam sthir hona. Make it steady. Make it resonate with Param Shanti. That doesn't mean one is tolerating injustice. That doesn't mean one is not standing for oneself. That doesn't mean one is just doing anything and everything others are telling you to do. No. On the contrary. Krishna Bhagwan's teaching in the Gita is to stand up against injustice. You see injustice somewhere, you see adharma somewhere, you see things going wrong somewhere. It is our duty to first recognize that, and without raga and dvesha, to take action to improve the situation. Whether the situation is within us, which is 90% of the job anyway, within family, within community, within the society, do what we can rather than simply complaining. There are quite a few number of people who are spectators about the problems in the sansar and are only complaining. That is their main job. They only know what to complain, and they keep talking to each other, complaining, doing nothing for anybody. Stop complaining, start acting. Do something, even if it's a small. And if you cannot do something physically, practically, intention may be. This is really where the whole ball game is. Internally, Bhagwan ki mala lena. Wish well for all. Rather than spending time, energy in nonsense conversations, complaining. This is wrong. Yes, everything is wrong because we are wrong. That's why. When we fix ourselves, everything will be okay. Don't worry about the world. The world is going to continue exactly the way it is. You cannot change the world. We are not here to change the world. We are here to transcend the world. Kitna bada farak hai. So many people are interested in, I am going to improve the world. Improve yourself. The world will take care of it. So you improve yourself, do your duty in the local realm, wish well for all, good enough. How can the world be permanently improved? It cannot. That is called sansar. Millions of jiva are coming with different bodies, with different karmas. This is a place, it is dharma kshetre kurukshetre. First verse of the Gita explains this point. The two words, dharma kshetre kurukshetre. What is the rahasya? Rahasya kya hai? Why these two words are the first words used? Because this is Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is a battlefield. This entire sansar is a battlefield. One species is dependent on another. Jiva jivasya jivanam. To kill One species, one has to survive. Even if you're totally vegan, vegetarian, something living has to be eaten. Something has to be killed to eat. Jiva jivasya jivanam. This is sansar. It's a hierarchical sansar. And it will remain. That is the nature of the sansar. It's an upside down tree. Urdhva mula madashakam ashvatam prahuravayam chandansi yasya paranani yastam vedasa vedavit. Chapter 15, verse 1. We've talked about it before. People are trying to improve the sansar. Do seva for the sansar. Wish well for everybody. Do locally. Do not take the responsibility of improving anybody. The moment we do that, that is our ahankar. We think that we are helping, I'm helping so many people. Sometimes we don't say I. We may not say it verbally, but internally the ahankar is active. Thinking that I'm the one who's doing this, doing that. Real seva bhav doesn't have any ahankar. And you know what they say, right? Charity begins at home. Here's Sachin's humble statement to all of you and to myself. Enlightenment begins at home. Enlightenment. It's not about running away somewhere into a cave, into the Himalayas, into some ashram, into Tirthastan. Jana, sab, go. But spirituality is not an escape. Yesterday we were saying how it is not a business transaction, which it is not, obviously. It is not an escape from life. Adhyatma is life. Exactly where we are, what we are doing, that is Adhyatma. That is the place to practice the Bhagavad Gita's teachings. Dharma kshetre kurukshetre. Kurukshetra is the sansar. All of us together who are on the path, who want to realize the Atman and Brahman, we are living in the dynamics of this sansar. The question is how to live in this dynamics. Can we live in this sansar with abhayam? That is fearlessness. Purity of the heart. That is called shaucha. We've talked about that before in the Ashtanga Yoga. Steadiness in knowledge. Jnana Yoga Vyavastitah. Gyan kaisi baat hai? It is a lamp that is unwavering. That is the analogy given in Vedanta. A lamp, हम जो दिया करते हैं, दिवो करिए छे अपने गुजराती में के, that doesn't move. There's no wind there. There is only steady. Have you seen steady flame? There's no air that is disturbing that. That is Jnana. Steady wisdom. Unbroken. It is new. That flame is new every moment. But it is shining. And it looks as if it is not moving, which it is not. It is extremely still, that flame. This is called the third quality in chapter 16 of the Gita. That is called Jnana Yoga Vyavastitihi. क्या भगवान ने क्या बताया है? It's amazing. When this all begins to live inside, हमारा अंतःकरण संत बन जाता है. You see, I'm wearing this. I ordered some of these just for winter time actually. ये जो orange color is specifically for this purpose, not because of any other reason, to illustrate the point. Okay, why people wear this bhagwa kapda? Not that I'm wearing that necessarily. This is just as a teaching tool. Because it represents the Brahma Prakash beyond Sattva Gun. Sometimes sadhus wear white clothes, and sadhus also wear the saffron clothes, right? You know the clothing is not what makes one a sadhu. This is just like a show and tell kind of thing. That's why I have ordered a couple of these from Amazon, I think, just for winter time. And just for sometimes when we do some deeper sadhana, it's good to, just be in that mood, right? It's just a sadhana. But the point is that there is a purpose behind certain kind of manovritti. So the saffron color, it is a symbol of Brahma Agni. I don't know if you know this. It doesn't mean you have to wear saffron clothes or anything like that. But It is a tradition in Sanatan Dharma that somebody takes a Bhagavati Diksha. इसको कहते हैं Bhagavati Diksha. So in that Bhagavati Diksha, there is 100% adoption of Purna Jnana. That is the goal. And Purna Vairagya. Brahma Agnima Bij Ropya. I'm not saying that right. When you offer into the Havan Kund seeds, they get all burned up, become Agni. Similarly, we can also reach that stage or enter into that modality of Brahma Agni, where every action, physical, mental, verbal, is offered into Brahman. And it gets transformed into divine light. That is why when sadhus take diksha or people take diksha and they wear the saffron clothes, that is some tradition that developed. It's a long history behind how that developed. It is a symbolic way for the sadhak to remove from the mind the entanglements of the ahankar completely. We can do that. We don't have to wear these orange clothes or white. It's not about clothing. It's not about colors. Antar ki sthiti. There's no mention of any of these clothes or anything like that in the Gita. That's why I put this on today. Just to show that the Gita doesn't talk about these clothes. You can put, anybody can put, it's like a Halloween costume. It doesn't mean anything by itself. And by the way, the prisoners in the United States, they also wear this saffron clothes. It's not by clothes that anybody becomes a sadhu. It's not by tilaks or malas or pravachans or anything like that. Antakaran ki sthiti hai. How are we living moment to moment, hour to hour, day to day? Are we living in a modality of param seva, param bhakti, param prem in every context? In every situation, context, interaction. Because the sansar and the people, most of the people in the sansar are asleep. Bhagwan Krishna kehta hai. Sachin is not saying any of this to anybody. This is just a transmission. Jo study kiya hai, mere jo notes hai, I'm just putting it in front of you. Sachin is not making any of these things up. This is all coming from the Sant Paramparas and from Bhagavad Gita, from Bhagwan Swayam. हमारा तो कुछ है नहीं, सब उनका है. उन्होंने लिखा है या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागृति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः. भगवान कहते हैं, श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा, या निशा सर्वभूतानां. He's teaching this for us to recognize that most of the people are asleep. Asleep in what? In Brahma Vidya, in Brahma Jnana, in enlightenment path, in this Sant ki jo sthiti hai. Sant is not by clothes and tilak. I keep saying that. One has to be very careful. We can all be Sant. In fact, that is the goal of life. Sant ki sthiti mein sabko jana hi padega. आज नहीं तो कल, कल नहीं तो नेक्स्ट लाइफ नहीं तो बहुनाम जन्मनाम अंते. जाग्या तय थी सवार. संत सबको ही बनना पड़ेगा. There's no choice, there is no option, there is no exception to that rule. साधवो हृदय मम, भगवान कहते हैं, जो रियल संत है वो मेरा हृदय है, वो मैं हूं. स्थिति की बात है, ब्राह्मी स्थिति. And this is where exactly where we are right now in our life. That is where enlightenment is. Enlightenment, Jivan Mukti, जो भी नाम आपको देना है, it is not something later on. We have to remove this notion that I will be enlightened later. That's wrong. That concept is completely wrong. The moment we remove that concept from our mind, our attention, our Shakti, Gnan, Kriya, Ichha Shaktis, all of them come into the present and say, what is my right action today? Is it seva? Is it bhakti? Is it fearlessness? It's all here right now. And then the actions continue. The actions continue in such a way we experience the world. But we experience it without creating any kind of internal energetic damage. This is our direct barometer. This is our Angel Wing program. That's the base. Tuesday evenings, 8 o'clock, everybody's welcome to join. Please join that program. Because there's no charge to anybody, of course, but that is the base to understand these things. Not just to understand, to live this actually. Because we are damaging our Shaktis. We don't realize it. We damage them again and again. But when we stop damaging it, it is going to come together. And then we can utilize it for seva, for bhakti, for jnana, for vairagya, for dharma, for enjoyment of life. In fact, life is great enjoyment. It is not, people say vairagya. Vairagya means, everything is meaningless, be depressed, it's all useless, everything is nashvant, everything is... Iska meaning ye nahi hai. That's not the meaning of vairagya. That is a very distorted misinterpretation of the word vairagya, or vairagya ki sthiti ka bhi misinterpretation hai. I'm showing this based on the Gita's teachings. Vairagya doesn't mean escape from life. Vairagya doesn't mean you don't interact. Vairagya means interaction with ananda. It is vairagya plus seva plus shuddha bhav, divya bhav plus prem. It's all combined together. You cannot simply say with this vairagya ho gaya, sab chhod diya, go away somewhere, or just become like an isolated renunciate. You cannot be isolated from the sansar. How long somebody will be isolated? It doesn't work that way. We have to live in this world with the reality of who we are, what has been given to us, and then learn how to transmute into seva, into prem, into bhakti, into non-resistant action. And this is today's teaching. For me first, Sachin, and then for everybody else. What is that teaching? Non-resistant action. Write it down. If you're taking notes, hopefully you are. Please take notes. This is our goal. We want to make this real. We don't want to just keep talking about these ideas. There's quite a few number of people that actually have memorized many verses of the Gita and are giving lots of pravachans and all that. Acha hai, karo. Karna chahiye. What is more important, to talk about all that or to live that? An ounce of practice, an ounce of realization is much more than tons of scriptures. Realize more. Realization. Non-resistant action. The resistance inside the mind needs to be looked at. I'm resisting. My mind is spinning here, there, not performing action that is needed. Stay on the track to perform one's duty. Karmanye vadhikaraste. Do the duty. Don't back off. Start with so-called small things which are not small. In our day-to-day action, what is to be done today? I'm making a decision 1 hour at a time. I spoke to some of you about this before. 1 hour at a time, because that's how our life goes. Our mind is spinning in 1,000 directions. That is called manomaya chakra. Stop that spinning. It's not necessary. Think about what needs to be done. Stay focused on the next hour. In the next hour, these 4 items are going to be done. That's good enough. But do it as a seva. Do it with the bhav that this action is being offered at the feet of Sri Krishna, Sri Radha Ji, Ishta Devata. Bhagwan to ek hi hai. It's not two tattva. There's only one tattva. You can offer it to Shiva, you can offer it to Jesus, you can offer it to Brahman, you can offer it to Jehovah, you can offer it to Mataji, Devi. गणेश जी जो जिसको ऑफर करना है करो, पर ऑफर कर देना उनको. Don't keep it to yourself. This is the practical exercise for today. Do it today. I'm telling myself first. After we're done here today, maybe 9:15, whatever time we finish, the 1 hour after that, maybe 9:30 to 10:30 or 10 to 11, whatever your timing is, make a decision. Just take the name one time. Om Namah Shivaya, Sri Krishnaya Namaha, and make a decision that the next hour is offered to Paramatma. Have we ever done that before? We are talking about generally offering fruits and flowers and prasadam and even giving donations and sponsorships and this. We are offering physical items. We can offer, and the only real way to reach enlightenment is to offer the next upcoming hour at the feet of Bhagwan. भगवान के चरणों में समय का अर्पण. Samay means what? How in the world are we to offer time? We are offering time by living in time with seva, bhakti, prem, fearlessness, amazing qualities, staying on the right track, and in performing the duties, everything rolled up in one hour at a time. The right amount of food is eaten, right amount of exercise is done. Everything balances out once we offer the hour at the feet of Paramatma, the hour of power. So in that hour, there is energy being used. Time is going to go by anyway. But Gnan Shakti, Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti come together in this. The bhavana inside is 100% seva, 100% sarva bhuta hite rataha, wishing well for all. That bhavana comes. And then one can decide, well, I'm going to study a little bit of scriptures, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Make a decision. And then take all of that, offer it. Having a conversation with a friend, with some Zoom conversation, whatever. Offer that at the feet of Paramatma. It is non-resistant action. And action, remember, is of 3 types, which is all connected. Physical action, mental action, verbal action. Man, karma, vachan. Offer it. This is sadhana. It is the greatest sadhana. And when we are successful by Guru Krupa, because Guru Krupa is the success inside, successfully we offer 1 hour at the feet of Paramatma, there is no karma accumulated. And not only that, past karmas are burnt away by doing this. And not only that, हमारा जीवन कैसा बन जाता है? मुक्त स्थिति में. मुक्त स्थिति में, in very straightforward way to enter mukta sthiti. There's no long later on. We think this will happen late. We don't want that later on. Next life, this life, that life. Ye sab chhod do ye sab baat. It's total nonsense. We don't want that. We want mukta sthiti now. And why not, right? Why wouldn't we actually adopt the mukta sthiti? And we already have the divine qualities hidden inside of us. Some of them are open, some of them are not completely open. We already know where our deficiencies are. But many times we are holding on to those deficiencies. We don't want to let them go. That is our ego. That is our ajnan. We don't want to let it go. And we are the only ones who can let go of our deficiency. Sachin has to see, where is my deficiency in the next hour? I've made a decision to do 5 things, 8 things, whatever I'm going to do. But then my other part of my mind says, I'll do it later. This will happen. That my mind just keeps spinning. That will not help us. We have to decide. And it doesn't have to be some huge projects or anything. Simple things. Going for a walk. Going for a 10-minute walk, or doing exercises at home, or reading a book, or having a conversation. Offer that at the feet of Paramatma. That is bhakti. That is seva. That is karma yoga. We need to learn the art of offering each hour at the feet of Parameshwari, that Mahashakti. And when we do this, when we try to do this, the first thing that will show up is the resistance inside. We will know, we will be aware of what is internal resistance. So this is a way to increase awareness. In Gujarati we say Janpanu. Increasing awareness of where am I binding myself. There's nobody in this world who is going to be able to see Sachin's binding other than Sachin. Others might have some opinions and perspective. That's okay. We can listen to that. But the only person that I have to be concerned with, or that this person has to be concerned with in transforming, is me. Bura dekhne mein chala, bura na milya koi. Jab antar khoja aapka, mujhse bura na koi. So when this is self-development. Vivek, Vachanamrut, Garuda Pratham 6. Take good qualities from others. Learn good qualities from others. Stop finding faults of others. Everybody has faults. What good will bringing that trash inside our heart bring? Bhagwan ka jo swarup hai, Bhagwan ki jo bhakti hai, Bhagwan ka jo namamrut hai. Bring that inside. Bring good qualities inside. There's so many wonderful ways to see this. And are there problems in the world? Obviously, the world itself is a problem. There's not a question of problems in the world. Jagat itself is a problem. Problem in the sense that it is a binding phenomena. One has to get out of that pinda brahmanda se paranija atma jani ke mama guna gave. Soi jana santa kahave, Brahmanand ji kehte hain. Brahmanand Swami. It is to realize the Brahma Tattva, Atma Tattva, that is the destination. But to get to that realization, 1 hour at a time, offer it to Paramatma. This is if we cannot do that, we can never realize God. Impossible. Impossible. And those saints, sages, devotees, bhaktas, human beings anywhere in the world who have realized Paramatma have done it this way. And there is no other way, by the way. There is no other way. Because we are living 1 hour at a time. We have a choice. Do we live in freedom or do we live in bondage? Do we live in seva or do we live in ahankar? Do we live in prema or do we live in finding faults with others? That's a choice. Everybody has faults. We have to see our fault, find the good qualities, interact in the right way, wishing well. You have to be practical at the same time. And then, but be extremely steady without fear. The fear from inside vanishes. Abhayam. किसका भय रखना? इसको कहते हैं भगवान की जो शरणागति है. मैं भगवान के शरण में हूं. शरणम. श्री कृष्ण शरणम मम. श्री राम शरणम मम. श्री राधा शरणम मम. This is called sharanam. And that sharanam is what? That is taking refuge. In Christianity, this is called taking the refuge of the Lord. कितनी सुंदर, क्या अद्भुत ट्रेडिशन है वो भी. कितनी सुंदर सुंदर बात सब संतों ने दी है throughout all the traditions of the world. And this is Sharanagati is a recognition that, hey Prabhu, aap hi sab kuch hai. You are everything. Ahankar gets destroyed in that. Total nash ho jata hai. Nirman moha jita sanga dosha. Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama. हमारी जो वासना जो है through the ahankar, that gets transformed. It changes its direction into bhakti. अनुभव का प्रश्न है ये सब. 1 hour. It's not about telling anybody. Sachin is talking about this on this platform. This is not subject that not even something that we can talk to people about, because that readiness has to be there. And not only that, this is not about throwing this knowledge on other people's head. That look, what I know, I'm teaching you. We're not teaching anybody anything. Teach yourself. So many people are interested in taking even all of these spiritual ideas and throwing it on the people's minds and heads. Kya point hai iska? Don't throw it on anybody's head. It's not necessary to do that. Keep it inside. As needed, share pieces of it if circumstances allow. It's a very difficult lesson to learn. I've had a lot of difficulty with that in the past years in my own development. It took years to try to learn that lesson. I'm not saying I've learned it completely. The only reason that we're sharing it here because it needs to be talked about, not because Sachin is talking about it. It is just like in Gujarati we say apne pirsiye che, prasad ne pirasvu. You know what that means? You take the prasadam and you distribute. The distribution of prasadam. Sachin didn't create this prasadam. It's been created by Sri Krishna himself. उन्होंने दिया है ये दिव्य प्रसाद. भगवान स्वामीनारायण उन्होंने दिया है प्रसाद. रामकृष्ण परमहंस, अरबिंदो, बड़े बड़े संत परंपरा, कितने संत हो गए. They have distributed, they have actually brought this in their life, and then we are having the opportunity to distribute. You know, when prasadam is there, lots of prasad, then there's people who pack it up and distribute it. That's what Sachin is doing. He's packing and distributing, packing and distributing. बस और कुछ नहीं. हमारा यही कार्य है. Or that is a seva, and that is seva everybody can do. Every human being can pack the prasad and distribute. मीराबाई कहती है ना, राम रतन धन पायो, पायो जी मैंने राम रतन धन पायो, दिन दिन बढ़त सा. The more we distribute, the more it grows. The more we just keep it inside, it stagnates. What happens if you have, like in a temple, you know, in any temple you have lots of prasad packets, thousands of them. They're just sitting in the kitchen. Ah, how beautiful they are. Arey bhai, isko distribute karo. Give it out. Open it up and give it out. Don't keep it inside the kitchen. Bhagavad Gita's every single concept, every single word is prasadam. It has to be distributed. It is not to be just kept with some kind of a sense that, but it has to be distributed in the right way. It is like that. Jnaneshwari, every scripture, and the more we distribute, because we're holding the prasadam, we are benefited by that. Everybody is benefited. The more we talk about these things with the right people at the right time. And isko kehte hai, vivek. That viveka has to be. I'll close with this point. That viveka has to be there. How much to talk about these big ideas? You have to take maybe a piece of that. If it's a 7-year-old child, how would we talk about these things to a 7-year-old child? It would be very different than speaking to some 50, 60-year-old man, depending on the person's manovritti. See, this is another very important thing in life. When we communicate with others, at any age, doesn't matter who they are, what is their mental framework? What is their manovritti? Isko samajhna. Understand that first. And then, through viveka, through prarthana, through seva, the wisdom will descend in the mind about what to speak. Not that I am speaking to that person. See, kitna farak hai. That is a tremendous, this is the whole point. That satyam jnanam anantam brahma, it descends. And it functions through the body-mind complex towards others, like a light bulb that is emitting the light. The light bulb isn't generating electricity. It is transforming electricity. It is a mechanism to take that electricity and now express it as prakash. Similarly, we are in fact the light bulb of Paramatma. And that is called Brahma Sthiti. That is called Jivan Mukta Sthiti. That is called Prema Bhakti. That is called Akhand Seva. Jo aapko bolna hai, wo bolo iske liye. It is not about somebody validating that. If a light, like a 500 watt bulb is shining in a big room, if nobody is there, it is still shining. And if thousands of people are there, it is still shining. This is called Jivan Mukta Sthiti. This is called Prema Bhakti. The light shines continuously. It doesn't stop. That is called the Atma Tattva. That is known as one who has awakened into the Atma Sthiti. Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sayami. Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisha Pashyato Munehe. The awakening into the Atman is Akhanda Ananda, Akhanda Gnan, Divya Prakash is constantly flowing. But isko kehte hai enlightened being. Yes. And that is our destination. So let's stop here. It's already 9:10. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Om Aim Hrim Klim Chamundaye Viche Swaha Durge Rakshini Tha Swaha Om Vameyasya Stita Radha Shrishayasya Asti Vakshasi Vrindavana Viharam Tam Sri Krishnam Rudhi Chintaye निजात्मानं ब्रह्मरूपं देहत्रय विलक्षणं विभाव्यतेन कर्तव्या भक्तिः कृष्णस्य सर्वदा ओम नमो नारायणाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम श्री परब्रह्मणे नमः ओम ह्रीं स्वाहा. Okay, with that we are opening it up for any Q&A.